Morning. Welcome to Thoughts and Updates for this week in what has been a hugely fascinating and interesting week. It is bitterly cold but very sunny here in Scotland as we are emerging at the other side of lockdown. The UK government has announced that over half the adult population in the United Kingdom have been vaccinated against coronavirus. I'm one of them, and hopefully that's going to lead to normality coming soon, but I'm still at the house. This week, it's been a significant week for me and for others, and on Wednesday I celebrated 30 years of sobriety, and very overwhelmed by the number of people who are very kind and said what they said on Facebook and other posts that I got during the week from people. Very kind and wonderful things which help in sobriety and help in anybody's addiction to ensure that they continue to be sober, clean, love themselves, and ensure that they are contributing members of their community for other people, which is hopefully what I am and what I do. That's what I strive towards. Although for some people, that's not necessarily how they see it, which is completely and utterly up to them. I said that I was going to unveil the artwork that Lorna bought me, which I'm going to unveil it to myself. We'll see what happens later on. But before I get there, just a quick update on the work this week that I've been doing. Obviously, in terms of boxing, it's been a big weekend. Beterbiev blasting out the German Danes who was stopped in the 10th round. We had also Ortiz managing to beat Maurice Hooker, but also an unusual card for Matchroom in that every single one of Matchroom fighters came through with a win. Lawrence Okolie is the new WBO Cruiserweight World Champion. British guy with a very bright future, and looking at other Cruiserweight champions, it looks as though he's probably got a decent run at things in order to become unified champ. Also, for Ringside Report, I had the honour of doing a piece on Marvellous Marvin Hagler, which was sad because he died unexpectedly. I think he was 67, and a man who defended his title 12 times, reigned supreme for 7 years in a time where the four kings, he was one of them, Duran and Leonard, just a golden time in the 1980s. Sad news that we lost him. We look forward to Gibraltar next week, which is going to be a fantastic card by the looks of things, and hopefully will bring us the type of stuff that we've been talking about over the last few weeks in terms of boxing in lockdown. Also for Ringside Report, I've done a wee piece on justice for the young lad who was killed by a security service, we believe, agent from the United States down in London, down in England, and also a new piece, Lockdown Lowdown, for RSR on BBC and other British, in fact another American as well, series that are on our televisions for lockdown. And I started with Spooks, and I'm moving on to The Commander, which is something I saw again for the first time for absolute ages. So that's been fascinating and interesting. Scottish Football Supporters Association have written on what happened in terms of the appalling abuse suffered by a Rangers player against Slavia Prague, and also about Kevin Ellison, and a name not known to Scottish footballers, but who had a touch-sighted, a rant at a former manager, a certain Mr. Derek Adams, who's well known to Scottish football fans during the course of the last week. So for reviews, I've been watching quite a few things on Home Manchester and on Space, nothing that I've put up, but really looking quite interested in terms of some of the stuff that's being done. So, two things that I'm going to talk about. Let me just place this somewhere where it's going to allow me to talk specifically to you rather than holding it. So, 30 years of sobriety. This is what was bought by Lorna, and it's a personal gift, which therefore I'm going to unveil to me. And later on, what I'll do is I'll post a photograph of what it looks like. Now, I've not seen this since I went down to outside David's studio and got it, so I am and I'm sure he is as well, opening this with some trepidation because I love his work, and it's certainly a privilege to be able to find myself in a position where I can David, Mr. Rossi, you've lost your good pen. Wow. With its own gift. And indeed, just to answer you, who would have thought? Well, to be honest, I would have. The fact of the matter is that this is a young man who had plenty to give creatively and managed it with some absolute aplomb. This is absolutely fantastic. As I get the bubble wrap off. Wow. It's such an absolute privilege holding a piece of original artwork. This is not the first piece of original artwork that I have, and you know, I'm not going to pretend that I've got a couple of Picassos hanging in the living room. But there is something about holding it and knowing and understanding just exactly what has gone into something like this. There was a few years ago, I remember talking to somebody about another artist friend of mine, Linda Kerr, and the cost it was for a commission. And once you broke down, you know, the amount of money that went into having a studio, buying a canvas, the paint, and then standing in front of a blank canvas and deciding how you were going to interpret the brief, or in the case of something like this, that you've got a blank canvas and you don't have an idea, and the exposure that you put yourself to in order to hope that when you touch, either by hand or by paint or by whatever means, that canvas, and turn it into something that somewhere along the lines you're going to create something that other people will admire, understand even, and you get a sense in an original piece of artwork of the doubt, the vulnerability, the confidence as well, in terms of the strokes and the way in which something is to be created. And then we take it and we appreciate it. And there are some that we don't like, and there are some that we feel are not good enough. But the effort, the huge amount of care and attention to detail that comes from that is here. And it's such a privilege to be in a position to not only to afford, but also to have something that is so special and part of somebody else. And yeah, I would have thought I would have been looking at some of Mr. Rossi's work because there was something different. Like many of the students that I've had the privilege of being engaged with over many, many years, and I still am, and I still do. So thank you, Rossi. And I cannot emphasise enough to anybody who's spending 5-10 seconds watching this, but go and get some for yourself. Go and support local artists. Go and be the guy who buys the cards, the mug, the print, the whatever it is, and be the girl or the guy or the non-binary or whoever you are who supports the creativity that after this lockdown will continue to give us the Netflix, the Amazon Prime, the Sky Go, the binge watch. And so I'm honoured that people have taken that time to actually get me something and also comment as they did on Wednesday on my Facebook post. 30 years for some seems a significant time. For me, my next milestone is I'm up early this morning at 6 o'clock and I'll go to my bed tonight about midnight or thereabouts, and at that point I shall hopefully continue to be sober just for today. When I went into AA, I don't go anymore, but when I went into AA after 10 years of sobriety, I joined the Sunday Night Woodlands Road group, which saved my life. Not for the first time, I've been grateful for people saving my life. There are people throughout who have. One of them is lying in her bed right now enjoying her Sunday, which is Lorna. And I don't do enough to thank people, I don't think. But I try to give service back. And there are people who don't necessarily see me as doing that, and I understand that and I accept that. Because this year has been a particularly difficult year, but it's not been difficult for me in the way it has been for others. I have watched as others have been castigated publicly. I've watched as others have been losing friends and relatives. I've watched as others who have suffered mentally in terms of how they have coped with lockdown and other things. And it's been hard and it's been tough for them. It's not been hard and tough for me in comparison. It's been quite easy for me because I've had and discovered over the last few months just exactly how deep that relationship has been with those around me. And when I joined the Woodlands Road Sunday Night group, we eschewed the blue card and remembered the yellow card, but used as a mantra, thought for today. And in the Thought for Today card, and I hope I don't paraphrase it too much, it says, each day do something for somebody else. And if you get found out, it doesn't count. And I hope that not every day, but as many days as I can muster, that I do something for somebody and I don't get found out. And it always counts. Because the contribution made to others is a significant step on the journey that I take in order to be the person that I need to be. And by the way, doesn't mean I don't make mistakes. I make hundreds of mistakes. I make huge numbers of mistakes because I take risks. And I'll keep doing that because failure is merely learning wrapped up in negative commentary. And I don't mind that. So, on this glorious Sunday, I shall post up a picture of what it is that I have received as a gift. And I hope that the gift that you have today is a good day in the sunshine, wherever you may be. I hate it, the sunshine that is. But for you, I hope it shines brightly. Till next week. Bye for now.